Well, Facebook is being sued by the Federal Trade Commission and attorneys general of 48 states for antitrust violations. They're alleging that Facebook has taken advantage of its superiority in the marketplace by gobbling up competitors like Instagram and WhatsApp. Joining us now with more on the story is attorney and radio host Chandelle. Summer, so what should we be thinking about this? Facebook is evil. Facebook just needs to be broken up. What do you think we should be thinking about when it comes to Facebook?
Well, when it comes to Facebook, you have to consider the fact that when Facebook acquired Instagram and WhatsApp, it was not exactly in the position that it is today in terms of its market strength. You know, at that time, people were talking about how Facebook was about to go under. It was going to go the way of MySpace, and it wasn't quite the competitive giant that it is today. The problem with this litigation is, as the Facebook attorneys have said, it's a do-over. It's the FTC approved the merger or the sale and the acquisition of Instagram and WhatsApp in 2012 and in 2014 for WhatsApp. And so for them to come back now and say, oh, sorry, we didn't mean it, go ahead and break up after Facebook has invested billions of dollars in infrastructure, in connecting all of the profiles and basically selling the information that they acquire. Now they want to come in and break it up. Well, that's not really fair to Facebook. It may be a behemoth. It may be very unpopular with certain segments, but this is just an example of government overreaching. And it's in fact an ex post facto movement on the part of the government to try to come in and undo what they've already done. So I just don't see how it's fundamentally fair to Facebook to have to go in and sell off Instagram and WhatsApp.
Do you think that this would be happening if there had not been so many questions recently in terms of censorship and how these big companies are using their platforms to censorship or to censor certain speech?
Certainly, there has been a lot of concern about Facebook's censorship during the recent political campaign. However, I'm not sure that's the motivation, because the FTC is a bipartisan organization, and this was pretty much a bipartisan effort. The chairman of the FTC is a Republican. So I think it's really more likely that it's a result of the fact that Facebook was slapped with a $5 billion $5 billion penalty for privacy violations after the Cambridge Analytics scandal. So I think that a lot of people felt that wasn't enough, that wasn't punitive enough towards Facebook, and they're just wanting to get Facebook at this point.
Let me ask you about that, though. I'm old enough to remember Ma Bell and how big AT&T and the Bell Company got. I remember staying up, so on a Sunday night, you could get 3 minutes for whatever it cost. It was very expensive. The consumer was hurt. Now, in this case, 2012's Facebook is different than 2020's Facebook. And they make billions of dollars, and the consumer doesn't realize that they are the product, and they're selling our information. They're selling access to us. So given that it's a different Facebook, it's a different business relationship now that we have with Facebook, don't you think it's appropriate to go back and take a look at how the consumer, who has become the product, is being treated?
No, because the consumer doesn't have to use Facebook. It is.
But that's part of the argument, though, Chandelle. That's part of the argument, that the consumer cannot use something else because Facebook is gobbling up the competition.
Well, the consumer has always been the product for Facebook. It was the product in 2012. It's the product.
But there were options. 2020. There were options, and that's the argument.
Well, there's still options. There's TikTok, which has 80 million subscribers. There is Snapchat. There is Parler now, which has become a very popular site since the election. So there are options. The fact that Facebook is good at what it does is the product. And they have managed to make people want to be on their site. They shouldn't be penalized for that. They shouldn't be required to break it up and to suffer devastating losses. I mean, the stock is already down 2% just because of this movement by the FTC yesterday. The government's in for a long fight. Facebook's going to defend itself. They have plenty of resources to do it. But I just think it's fundamentally unfair for the government to have one ruling in 2012 when the company's not as viable as it is, and then come back in 2020 and say, sorry, we made a mistake, let's start over.
Yeah, I do think that people today do realize that they are, in fact, the product, and they do realize now, just because it's been, put into the mainstream so much that your information is being sold, you can't always count on these, privacy guidelines. What does this mean for other companies, though? You mentioned some of the alternatives to Facebook. I would add LinkedIn in there as well. What does this particular case mean for those other companies moving forward?
It's going to have a chilling effect on these other companies. They're going to be questioning whether they should try to acquire market share by buying up other companies. And the thing about Facebook is, as we all know from watching Social Dilemma, that they are not only gathering data about the users, they are also programming what you see. So if they can tell from the number of clicks that you make on a certain type of post that you're interested in conservative politics, liberal politics, whatever it might be, they can then start programming you and feeding you information about that particular topic. So it is, in fact, a very frightening proposition that we have this social media giant out there that can control our behavior and our choices and the type of advertising that we see.
Yeah, and by the way, when you say the stock is down 2% from the stuff coming out there, it's up 100% since March, right?
And no doubt, it was a good investment.
Okay.
But
So
remember, back in 2012, people didn't think so.
Absolutely.
Everybody was saying Facebook's going under this. They don't have anything to sell. It's not a product.
No,
Right.
I remember being in a newsroom, and one of our associate producers was talking about this Facebook thing, and I remember saying, "Oh, isn't that just a bunch of college students?" Yeah, I just aged myself.
TikTok.
But it's not anymore, is it? It's revolutionized the world. The way it's created revolutions. It has changed the course of political campaigns.
Yeah.
It's a behemoth.
Yeah, which is one of the arguments that Heather was talking about. We don't have any more time talking about this, but I hope we do again in the future because this may remain an issue for a little while. Chandelle, thank you. A pleasure talking to you.
Enjoyed being with you.
And we'll be back with more of American.